Ja, dan gaan we naar Roman van Ray. Oh,
Hey, Roman, thank you for being flexible a little bit on this time because I invited everybody and I forgot to send Robert a message and I was
Worries, no stress. It's all
I
good.
was hating myself for it, but he showed up in the end. I sent him the link and he came in, so I'm very glad that we got him on for a couple of minutes. He's a busy guy. Um, but now over to you, Roman.
Hmm.
Um, would you like to do this in English or in Dutch? Because I do understand that it's a Dutch-built app for the Netherlands. Maybe there is some difficult words that you prefer to.
Now we can do it in English, but I don't know about your audience. Do you have a wide international audience? Would you prefer
Well,
to do it in English?
we
I
hope we have.
I don't know how wide it is, but I would
Right.
like to
Yeah.
do it in English to make it a little bit wider. Let's say it
Yeah.
like that.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Uh,
I do have to say I just looked up the word wetgevende macht. I forgot what it was, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
already sort of prepared. You know.
Great, great. Roman, you came forward because of Johan. He introduced you to me. You said that we already met each other. I first
Yeah,
want to know more about that.
that's funny. I actually, I believe I interviewed you about 10 years ago when you were doing, having a speech at a protest in The Hague somewhere.
Wow, is that you? Because that video has been taken private on YouTube.
I believe so, yes. Out of,
And I would love to have a link towards that video because,
I can share it with you, sure.
that's amazing. That was the first time I spoke out in public.
Yeah, that was good times, man. Yeah, you
Yeah.
changed your hair a bit. I don't know what
Yeah, we are
happened.
living in a clown world, you know.
Yeah, all
So this
right.
is
it's
my
a
way of
wig.
coping with reality.
I understand. I
All
understand.
people have all kind of side effects these days, and this is mine.
Yeah,
So
good.
how are you doing, Roman?
Well, I just had a daughter a couple days ago,
Wow,
so
Congratulations.
congratulations. First
thank you.
first kid.
Yes, indeed. So
Congratulations.
still getting used to the rhythm and the tempo a bit because it's every couple of hours. She sleeps a lot, so that's good. Eden, she's called Aiden, um, and so
Make
that's
her a little garden
exactly the Garden of Eden.
with an
Uh,
apple tree.
Preferably not, right?
Pointry.
Well,
Pointry.
um, but it's a bit much, but it's very doable compared to all the other stories, compared to the potential, effects of having such a thing happen in your life. It's I can't complain. It's good. Yeah.
yeah,
How are you guys doing?
congratulations on that.
Have you guys been going for hours already?
Yeah, yeah,
It's okay. It's okay. The call is 4 hours long now, but
All right.
I have been. I don't know if you heard about the death of Jeannette Ossebaard. Last 2 weeks ago, it was confirmed that she was found dead,
Okay.
and then I decided to stream the entire Fall of Cabal series. Uh,
I gotta say, I'm not familiar with any of those. I
oh,
don't. I'm
she
shocking
she
you
made
right now, but
she made a documentary series, and that is 50 episodes of half an hour,
okay.
and I did that in 4 days. So I I've streamed a lot over the years. So for a Bitcoin birthday, I've got so much energy, man.
Nice.
I could go for a year.
What's
I
this?
feel
What's
like.
the series on? What are the what does she speak?
Well, it's an alternative history of the world, let's call it like that, and it's a little bit exposure of monarchies, power structures in the world. There is some because while she was doing that, COVID happened, and there is a little bit of how the numbers are cooked in a way, how they mistreated people in hospitals so that they were, in her words, killed by wrong treatment. And it's a very uh, yeah, let's just say a lot of people would call it conspiracy theories, but there is a lot of evidence backing her claims.
And there's a lot of conspiracies in the world.
Yeah, 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 of course, but
You need
you will
some
not
theory,
you
right? to
You will
explain.
not find that info on the regular media, let's call it like
Yeah,
that.
I understand.
And she got depressed and she killed herself,
Oh,
and that's a very, very sad reality.
mhm.
But I already played all her episodes a couple of years ago while they came out. And I decided to, in honor of her passing away, I would play everything again. And I was thinking I will do it in 2 days, but
You
no,
can't get enough.
it was
Was
a
a bit
little
much.
bit too much, little bit too much.
Yeah,
But
but
so
anyway, we invited you here because you have this app, Referend app.
yeah,
Hmm.
we already played the video that you shared with us,
All right.
so the audience has a little bit of an introduction. And
Okay.
we already said it's what I understand from it, because I read your website also. What I understand from what you are trying to do is to build a app where people can become member of your political party to be, and then they have to vote in the traditional system of the traditional democratic system, and whatever vote comes forward in Dutch parliament is going to be brought forward to the members. They can vote inside the app on the blockchain, I assume, so that it is all publicly transparent, verifiable what is happening. And then the representatives of that party are gonna just vote whatever comes forward out of your. And for example, if you have 10 seats and there is a 60-40 division within your members, maybe 6 of your members will vote yes and 4 no. I mean, I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
maybe
Good
my
Perhaps.
first
question.
question.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought it all the way through that far because first got to get this thing off the ground. But I
Mhm.
like the way you're thinking. Although I do have to say that ultimately, this what you're describing is only phase one, I would say, of what I'm actually trying to do. Um,
So
the
give a little, maybe let's start with you giving a little insight of explaining exactly what you try to do and what steps you are planning to make.
well, let me put it real simple in real simple terms. I want to cut out the middlemen that are the politicians right now, and using technology, I believe we can. So ultimately, I want to use technology to obviate government as we know it today as an institution of imposed control, top down control. And I want to enable people to organize bottom up with the right tools because, as at the meeting where Johan and I met recently, where I also brought up this idea of libertarians like to mock people who ask them that who will build the roads. And of course, this is funny because if you think about these topics for let's say 10 years and you read all the books, and then obviously this question becomes ridiculous. Like, what are you talking? The companies will build the roads. Who else is going to? But I think at the same time, from the mindset of someone who is invested in this system and has never really considered any alternative, or simply, this might sound arrogant. I'm not trying to come across arrogant or pompous, but people have never considered any alternative. They don't see any,
Yeah, yeah,
ironically, road ahead. They don't see the road to that system, to another world. So the way I like to look at it is we have to really create the hoe zeg je dat, onderscheid, division,
yeah.
in the consciousness of the masses, that what we are talking about here, when I'm talking about the Referend.app, is societal organization as a modal, how do you say that, category,
Okay.
and societal organization right now, when people think about societal organization, they look at the government. That's the institution that takes care of societal organization. And that's what I want to say. Like, we have to, I'm pretty sure your audience is familiar with agorism, or at least a lot of them will be familiar with agorism. This was a big inspiration for me, Samuel Edward Konkin. Um, that mentality of building something that makes the existing obsolete. I figured, look, all these things that the government does, or at least part of it, I would say a substantial part of it, are things that we want done in society. I don't know about you, but I want people who can't take care of themselves taken care of. For example, I like that idea. That's compassion. You know, I don't want to live in a world where we let those people go, so to speak. This the survival of the fittest mentality.
Mhm.
But that means that there's two things that need to happen: the emancipation of people to understand that that is this responsibility that we need to take voluntarily without government coercion, without taxation, and we need the tools to be able to achieve that, to manage that. And that second part is where I hope to contribute with Referend.app, so that people finally get to see the road ahead towards that system. So ultimately, I'm skipping a bit ahead now in what I wanted to talk about. But if you go to the roadmap on my website on Referend.app, you will see that ultimately I want to go to a full decentralization of the political system, with project management, crowdfunding system for public works, federalization. So on the local governmental level, as well as on a national governmental level, have all the finances be transparent. And if we try to update, so to speak, the current system with something like this, then I think there's a transition that we can, zeg je dat, afdwingen? I don't know.
Enforce.
Enforce, yeah, but enforce is in this context maybe a bit dangerous, but um, I guess so, yeah. Um, so that people will see a way forward, yeah.
I'm Google translating it. Command
Command, yeah.
is an alternative word for it.
Oh,
I've got a
yeah.
couple more, but they are not really better. I got extort, but that's also not good.
Yeah, no. Afdwingen, that's a nice word in Dutch in this
Coerce.
context.
Coerce is maybe
Coerce,
better.
I guess so, but it's more of a coercion out of necessity rather than a top-down coercion.
Yeah.
You could put it that way.
Amazing. Great. I did not
What
look into it that deep.
what's the timeline for this?
Right now, I've created 3 phases of the project.
Mhm.
Proof of concept is phase 1. That's where we are now. Um, I'm setting up, hoe zeg je dat? Een marketing campaign for the launch. I want to get 10,000 users and 2,500 donators or members, so that we actually get some money in, because this is a nonprofit organization. I'm not trying to get rich. Would be nice, of course, but that's not the point. Um,
How much does
it's
it cost to become a member? And do you accept what kind of currencies do you accept for that?
yeah. Right now, I only accept euros as it is. But of course, I'm planning to introduce cryptocurrencies too. Ideally, that's ultimately where I believe the platform should go as a whole. Introduce cryptocurrency in government finances, so that the
Mhm.
whole thing becomes transparent. But for now, I'm just this has taken me so much already. The proof of concept. I want to see if this takes off to begin with, before
Can you tell me how many users are on your website today?
less than 100. So if
Less
you're
than
watching
100.
this, download it. Go to referend.app/download.
Mhm.
Download it, and you will be one of the first people to start
I will
using.
definitely do that later today when the show is
Yeah.
over. Because so far, what you're telling me really sounds like music to my ears. I really like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's funny because um, I've been working on this for well over 10 years. I would say almost 12 years now on this
Mm.
concept. And just recently, I've seen an uptick in this same sort of mentality coming to the forefront on social media. So,
Absolutely.
for example, what's his name? Jack Dorsey. What did he say? I wrote it down here. He said, "Imagine your government's built upon open protocols that they can't own, control, or manipulate. Every interaction visible to all. What changes?"
Yeah, everything.
So exactly. So get rid of privacy for people who want to force their will on you.
Yeah,
They claim that authority to force their will on other people. The least that we can demand is that the whole thing be transparent, so that we don't have to trust them. You know,
yeah,
trust, verify. I don't have to explain that. I think on
yeah.
this channel.
All right, so that's phase one, and it's in the starting blocks.
Yeah.
Uh, let's say you will get your 10,000 users, your 2,500 members.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, I guess attracting funds. Hopefully, I mean, find people with serious money, because I'm. This is really. It's going to take a lot to get this thing going for real. This is not integrated with any blockchain as of yet.
Mhm.
So that whole thing. I can do some programming. I built the whole thing myself, but blockchain, yeah, that's going to be too much for me. I'm going to need to attract programmers, coders, and yeah, it's going to cost a lot of money. So, um, but perhaps it's interesting to talk a bit about what it actually means, this proof of concept, before we move on to
Sure.
the
No.
next
Okay. Yes.
phase.
Yes. Yes. Let's
Uh,
do that.
I figured I would share my screen. Can I share my screen with you? Is that
Yes.
doable?
Yeah.
Let me
Oh,
see.
actually, Johan is behind the button, so I just say yes. But
Yeah. Let's do it. I think it's will be shown on the screen that you are now. See now the Skype logo.
Be loading.
Oh yeah, just load, of course. Yeah.
Do you see anything appearing?
Yeah, but not on Skype. And I
I
mean not on the stream. It's
Oh, we don't have to. It's okay. I don't know if you can show it on your end, but I'll stop the sharing then.
yeah, I
I
can
can
see
just
it, but on the stream it's not visible.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll just talk about it, and people can download the app and then look at it themselves.
Yeah.
The main thing that I tried to do in this with this app is to find a way to bridge the gap between the system that we have now, where I want to go, where I think this should be going, and the um, level of engagement that people have today. And so
one
I
second,
think,
Roman,
yeah.
because you switched off the camera when you
Oh,
jumped
sorry.
back to the.
Yes, I see.
It's nice to see you. Yeah,
Yes, indeed. Um,
we want to bridge the gap. You
yes,
said.
to bridge the gap between what we have now, where we want to go, and the level of engagement that we see today. So I figured, why not start with voting on legislative proposals in the Dutch government, and that way we can introduce a new level of checks and balances. If we see that the government um, accepts a new proposition, a new law, unanimously, and the people are against it 90%, that's already a big way that we can
Correct them.
yeah, correct them, or at least put some pressure on them to show them, if there's, let's say, 6 million people in the Netherlands and 90% of them don't agree with what's happening,
Maybe
that's
something is wrong. Yeah, yeah. Or
exactly.
maybe we shouldn't go forward with that idea.
Exactly. So, and to make it engaging, because of course this is very dry. A lot of these texts are you don't want to read those, all the laws. So what I'm going to be doing as part of the campaign, the marketing campaign for the launch, and forward from then on. That's the idea, is to how do you say that? Verslag doen.
Report.
Reporting.
Report, exactly, to report on a weekly basis on new laws that were either debated on or voted on, and yeah, do little video clips, little videos of, let's say, 1 to 3 minutes, discussing these as objectively as possible. I want to keep my opinion. I like to talk about politics, obviously, but I want to keep my opinion out of it as much as possible. so that it's as neutral as possible. Um, and yeah, that's going to be the main part. I think that's going to be interesting for people. To have a weekly sort of voting moment where they check the video, think about what it means to them, and then vote. But I think the most powerful aspect of the minimum viable product as it is right now is the initiatives element, the part. This allows users to submit, hoe zeg je dat?
Their
Burgerinitiatieven?
own their
Yeah,
own proposal. Yeah.
exactly. Legal proposals. And um, this would create, when a user creates an account on the app, they have the option. It's not necessary because these are private. This is private data. This is sensitive data. I understand, but this is what is necessary to make it work. Um, they have the option to enter their address, uh, besides other information. But the address is
Mhm.
essential because, from a legal perspective, these proposals, citizens' initiatives, that's the word I was looking for. These citizens' initiatives, if you want to support a citizens' initiative, you have to give your address so that I guess, so that they can check if, you know, if
It's a
the
legal requirement for it.
exactly. So, and that means that if you vote for an initiative on the platform and you have entered your address, that means your vote counts legally as support for this initiative.
Hmm.
And any initiative in the Netherlands with 40,000 supporters can be submitted to the government, and then they are forced to take it into account. They have to discuss it in
Yeah.
front of everyone. So I think this is another very powerful uh, step towards, you know, bringing power of the government back to the people, as
Yeah.
I would say true democracy would have to function. Um,
The advantage that I see is that it's going to be much easier to bring such a civil initiative forward because now people need to go to a specific location, bring their passport, sign the document, and before they are really, or you need to go house by house, every door to get those signatures. And if everybody would make an account on that app and they just have it on the while they are sitting, while they are eating or whatever, they are on their phone and they can just click the button to sign something, makes it a lot easier to get something
exactly.
done.
Yeah, exactly. And to add to that, to make that process, how do I say this, more effective, I've also introduced groups and a forum in the app so that people can, form groups and work together in the forums. For every ministry, I created a forum so that you can, sorry, introduce new problems and figure out. A lot of people like to complain about politics, as do I. It's fun, it's easy to make fun
We are
of it.
not complaining today. We are only bringing solutions.
Exactly, and that's I think one of the most interesting aspects also of the initiatives part of the platform, in combination with the forum and the groups. If we look at how the system functions today, there are people employed um, in government. The 150 people in the Tweede Kamer, in the
Mhm.
what do you call that in English? I don't know.
The house.
The House
Yeah,
Representatives, something
yeah,
like that, I guess. Um, That's just 150 people. Of course, they have a lot of employees who work with them on new proposals and they do research, etc. But imagine if you would have, and this is something from the second phase, if we move beyond the minimum viable product, imagine if we have a system of liquid democracy that is based on trust and expertise, and leverage that for the legislative process. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with liquid democracy, but the idea is that you delegate your vote to one of the other users, and that person can then vote on your
yeah,
behalf.
yeah.
And if we categorize this in specific ministries, for example, to set out with, Um, let's say my father, he knows a lot about immunology. He's an immunologist, allergies, etc. Let's say I trust him to do what's best on my behalf when it comes to health issues.
Yeah.
Ministry of Health. Every time he votes in that ministry, in that category, he votes on my behalf. He could do the same, delegate his vote to people who are even more knowledgeable than he is. If you do that for every topic, you get sort of like a hierarchy of trust and expertise, which kind of, I guess, would resemble what we have now, but it would be way more decentralized. And as this as the word describes, as the word says, it's liquid. So as soon as someone does something that seems wrong or you don't
Yeah.
agree with, you just retract your vote.
Yeah.
You get a notification when someone votes on your behalf on a new piece of legislation. You retract your vote, and that's it. That's
Yeah.
it's done. And if you leverage that, you get so much more. What do you call that again? The crowdsourcing of information, I think, has so much more potential than just those 150 people and their employees who also have all these hoe zeg je dat, belangen, these
These interests and
interests.
conflicts of interest.
Exactly, that we don't know about. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
I see so much potential for positive change in this direction. There's just yeah.
Yeah, it is really, I'm looking at your website, how much you already wrote down. You just said, I'm already working 10 years on this, and it's visible. If I look at that website, you really thought about this. And like I already mentioned, I like what you're saying. And I think it's a great way, or it's a great example of people trying to find a solution to the problem instead of just posting on social media how they don't like somebody because they flew to Argentina, for example. And then I'm thinking, if we only react to what comes forward and show our discontent, where will we go? It's not bringing us anywhere. We need to work on, and if we would all give power to that app, that is going to be our new reality. We created this system. That's why we can create something different. And it's only a matter of people wanting something to happen, and it will happen.
Yeah.
And so um, I'm really excited about what you are saying here. And I will definitely could become a member later today.
I
I'm
just
afraid
became a member.
I'm afraid my address is not going to be very valuable here, 20 miles out of Liberland. But yeah, it's a nice outlook on what people are building on. Because before Johan mentioned you to me, I didn't know about this initiative, and I really think it's a great step forward, or it has potential. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And again, I want to thank you for inviting me because you're really early when it comes to promoting this thing. I haven't really launched the actual uh, promotion campaign yet, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's no wonder that you don't know about it.
You heard it here first, people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, and how are you on a more broader level? What do you see happening in 2024 is a question that I ask to all our guests. Um,
You mean
what,
politically or in what
no,
sense?
just in general for yourself. What do you try to achieve? It doesn't have to be specifically about your app, but more like little outlook because it's the 3rd of January and it's always a good topic to hear just what people are doing for themselves. You already mentioned it, of course. You got your first child that is now a couple days old, so I guess most of your time will go to that. But maybe there's something you like to share with us, something more, something different than you were just saying.
Yeah, I think most of my time indeed would be dedicated to these two things, family life and this project. And
And
yeah,
how do you see, how can we help to get more people to join that platform? What is needed for that?
yeah, it's, of course, this whole platform is only going to be interesting if a lot of people join. So that's the biggest obstacle now.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, just share it. Spread it out. Let people
Yeah.
know about this idea about the app. Um, that would mean a lot. I think. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
I can already to say my reach today isn't very big, but
that,
it's
that,
it will, and because it's focused on Netherlands, it's a little bit difficult for from where I am. But I'm definitely going to talk about this more often because, well, let me first promise that I'm going to read the entire website instead of just looking at the roadmap. But I really think that something like this is, well, utilizing the new technologies in a way that can really benefit our organization structure.
yeah,
Because the system we live in today is, in my opinion, so incredibly corrupt. I gave up on it many years ago. I the first time I voted was for the European Constitution, and just like 60% of Dutch people, I voted against that constitution. And
what happened?
one month later, we got an extra paper on it, so it was completely different constitution after that, and it got approved.
Yeah,
And that was basically for me the the last time I voted. I think the first and the last time. Maybe I voted once more after that, but not so much after because, well, in the period that we are. What's your age, Roman, if I may ask?
33. I'm gonna turn 34 in 2 days.
Yeah, so majority of our lifetime we have been involved in wars that nobody has really supported. That the explanation for those wars turned all out to be lies afterwards, or for the majority. There is still a larger territory of Syria being occupied by NATO forces than Russia is currently occupying in Ukraine. But yet, we are all supposed to hate Russia for what they are doing, and what the oil that we steal in Syria is it's all perfect. Nobody's talking about that. So there is such an incredible double standard that until today we have not really been able to break. And although some have been trying, it's not really getting anywhere, partially because there are no good alternatives for what we are doing. And if we can build an alternative, then we can really oppose what's going on. Because that's just what I said. You can say how much you hate everything, but if you don't have a better solution for it, then what are you complaining about?
Yeah, that's
So
what that reminds me of how this thing all for me all started. I remember my friends back in the day used to call me negative Nancy because I was always bitching about politics, and it was always I was always complaining. And at some point, one of them, in a bit of frustration, they said to me, "You know what? Why don't you come up with an alternative? You always then come up
yeah,
with something,
yeah.
come up with a solution instead of always." And that was a seed planted in my mind that grew out to this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing. So, yeah, well, how to say it? I will definitely talk about this more
Mhm.
in the future when somebody asks me. So, how should we do it then? You know,
Yeah.
do you plan to translate this website?
Well,
And
initially, nope.
and one more question to that. How big of a community do you plan to service? Do you want to bring this global at some point, or do you only want do you still believe in nation states with an app like this?
That's a good question. I think that if something like this will be successful, then the idea of nation states as we know them, I don't want to again, hoe zeg je dat?
Sound like a globalist.
Grootheid, nee, no,
Oh,
grootheidswaan. How do you say that?
uh-huh. Oh,
Grootheidswaan. I don't want to seem like I'm so full of myself that I believe that I'm gonna unleash a global revolution. But at the same time, I would say that if something like this will turn out to be successful, nation states as we know them will cease to exist. I mean, no taxation, no, uh, you know,
Delusion of
free
Representation.
money,
grandeur.
free
Delusion of
money.
grandeur.
Yeah, delusions of grandeur. Exactly. That's a good one. So yeah, I think that's the only way forward. And I believe that if this is successful in the Netherlands, a lot of people are just going to go, why aren't we doing this? Let's move on with the, go ahead with this also. Let's implement it also. So I can definitely imagine that this will become international, but initially I will stick with Dutch. Also, I'm not a necessarily a nationalist.
Uh-huh.
I hope you understand that I don't support the state as an institution and of force as a monopoly on violence. But at the same time, there are definitely culturally things that define a people,
Yeah.
and these uh, distinctions are important, I believe, and some are also better than others in many respects. So that is also part of why I chose to, I've gotten this question before also. Why don't you make it in English also so that international, uh, an
Especially
international
for the
audience?
funding aspect, it could help your case, because then you are fishing in a much larger pond than just
Yeah,
the Dutch.
but I am Dutch, and this is my country, and this is my language, and this is
Yes,
the
yes,
nation
yes.
that I'm part of. So that feels the most natural to me, and also I think that this is the other side of this whole picture that I just painted of these nations, with specific characteristics, and some being better than others. Um, that also means that I expect people who come here in the Netherlands to adapt, to speak Dutch. I mean, or at least be able to
Yeah, listen
communicate.
to us now. Hey,
No,
go
I mean,
continue.
yeah, that's ironic indeed. But I mean, in a I think it's very strange. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it, but I think it's very strange that I go to a voting booth and there's texts explaining what people should be doing in like 8 different languages, including Turkish and Arab and I don't know what languages.
Yeah,
And these people don't speak Dutch. Why should
yeah,
they be deciding what we do in this country? They don't even speak Dutch. I mean, now let me rephrase that. They can't communicate with us. I can speak a bit of German, I can speak English, I can communicate with someone who speaks English. There's a connection there, that or at least a potential connection there. I cannot talk to these people. They cannot talk to me. I don't think it's fair to expect that they should be deciding what happens in this country if they don't even, rise to that level of respect for the host nation that they're in. Yeah, I don't know. That's also part of why I chose Dutch as the language for this platform initially. I want to set a standard for people to understand that this is the Netherlands, this is Dutch people, this is where you speak Dutch, and if you want to participate, you put in some effort.
yeah. Well, I'm sitting on millions of crypto coins that hardly anybody is using today, and then I always think, oh, I wish I could fund something. But it's just not a reality today. But um, it's definitely you brought this on my radar. Let's say it like that. And I personally, I do believe that 2024 is going to be a very turbulent year in which many things can happen that I don't oversee today.
Mhm.
Um, so you never know what the future might bring.
How do you
You
see
never.
the sort of political winds changing over the last couple of, I would say, months, maybe a year? You've
Well,
seen.
I'm a Liberlander, right? So I
Mhm.
have my Liberland passport that I will sometimes like to show. And they are very excited about the Argentinian president
Yeah,
becoming the Argentinian president.
yeah,
And in general, if you see what is happening in the world, then I think all those public servants that have been secure of a job for the majority of 3 generations now. Uh, there is a lot of talk about ending, for example, public broadcasting in the Netherlands, or at least reducing the budget significantly. And yeah, I think that is because those people are just, they are speaking about useless eaters today instead of useful idiots. Before, they needed your participation to empower them. And with them, I mean the powers that still are, so they needed your acceptance of them being in power. And those powers believe that they can now do it without you. And so they are going to cut their budgets and they are going to remove those public servants for a large part. And computers are going to do the job, for example. So that is a direction that I think has gained some traction over the last couple of months. And I really see libertarianism in general becoming because who knows about it? Nobody ever thought about that. That's really the people are so uninformed about everything, and I really see that ending, because as soon as you start to inform yourself, you cannot unlearn what you have learned. And like I already stated before, everything has been so incredibly corrupted, and it's so obvious that it all has been corrupted. All that is needed is your motivation to find out. And if you want to, you will, because we still got the internet freely accessible today, and the information is there. You will not hear it on TV, you will not read about it in the newspaper, and the school system is also not going to educate you that way. But if you are triggered in some way or another, and and are going to look for it, you will find it.
Yeah.
And
Seek
so
and you will find.
yeah, I really think that a big shift in consciousness is going to happen. I've been saying that for too long now, but
But it is
uh,
happening. You can see it, I mean,
it is happening. It is
even in
happening.
terms of these elections all across the West, uh, slowly but surely people are moving away from these top-down controlled, how do you say that? Megalomaniacal modes
Power
of,
structure.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think at the same time, this necessity, the necessity that is, how do I say this, laid bare by the corruption, because the corruption just shows people that ultimately you will have to do it yourself. This is a
Yeah.
good lesson, because this
Yeah.
is what it takes to take a step in that direction. The like I said, the other side of that coin of libertarianism is the taking of responsibility. You
Exactly.
have to take the responsibility.
That
Yeah.
is the main topic of my new Go Fuck Yourself video series. It's all about taking responsibility, and we
Yeah,
can no longer believe that somebody else has the best for you.
yeah,
If you want something done
no,
right, you need to do it yourself.
yeah, or
And
at least have some sort of system um, that allows you to operate without trusting individual human
yes, yes,
beings.
yes, yes. And so, like you correctly stated before, transparency and privacy. You have to be willing to uh, speak out about your opinion and give up on that privacy. You can no longer hide behind somebody else.
Yeah,
So whether or not people are going to be willing to do that, I think massively depends on the level of how they can sustain their lives and be comfortable. And
yeah,
so I do believe it must get worse before it can get better, and that we have not seen it yet. Sure, COVID was a small glimpse, and for somebody who's doing things that I'm doing, COVID is really a blessing from the sky, because finally some people were so shaken up that they started to look for different answers, and then they can find it. And then, like I said, those people often after they learn it, they will not unlearn. So, but yeah, in the short-term future for this year, I really think it's gotta go worse before it gets better in a
Yeah.
way. So
Yeah, that necessity is ultimately what drives it. My uncle, he teaches at the University of Amsterdam, and I followed his course a while back. He
what does he
teaches
teach?
he teaches the world no, the history of world communism,
Hmm.
global communism. It was really interesting, and one of the things that really stuck with me was that when you see the periods before a revolution takes place, you see a collapse of societal structures and the necessity arising for people to organize themselves because the
Yeah,
government is not doing it. The current
yeah,
power structures are not doing it.
yeah.
And that, I believe, is also what part of what we are seeing today. This is what we see in Dutch politics. What's his name again?
Wilders?
No, shit.
Go
What's his
there.
Yeah.
No, the one with the big party from the CDA, who
Oh
Omtzigt.
yeah, Omtzigt, yeah.
Omtzigt, exactly, Omtzigt. He said he's talking about a new political mentality, new, how do you say that,
New social.
bestuursmentaliteit.
Social contract.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what you see. I would say, um, reflects that idea. Only he still operates within that system. He expresses it by introducing just another new party, which ultimately I believe is futile because you just participate in the system that created these problems to begin with. But
Yeah.
it does reflect that idea of the necessity for some fundamental change. Only the system is not gonna bring it.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
ik heb trouwens, I have to say, I tried to log in. I created an account on
Mhm.
your website while you were talking.
Mhm.
And I created a password and then a username, but it doesn't work.
That's not good. I will check
Uh,
into that.
or do I have to get an email first?
You have to confirm. You have to confirm with your
Oh,
phone
that's
number. Did
yeah.
you
I
confirm?
did. I did. I did. Yeah, yeah,
I believe that should suffice off the top of my head.
yeah. But I cannot log in.
Oh, hold on. I believe you became a member. I see your membership here coming in.
Yeah, I also paid, and then I have to fill in everything again. That's also
Yeah,
a little
no,
weird.
that's maybe that's a bit confusing. That's good that you say it now
Yeah.
because there's two different memberships. You just became a member of the organization, so we
And I
have.
also did one where you paid, but I didn't get a password.
Yeah, no, the part where you create an account um, is not where you pay. So the platform itself is free, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't have to pay to use the platform. It's accessible to all people in the Netherlands.
yeah.
The part I believe where you just signed up is the membership for the organization that's behind it. So ik heb een vereniging en een stichting. So the
Okay. Yeah, I did both. I did both. For the other one, I just have to create a login, and that doesn't work. And I didn't get an email for that.
I'll look into that. I'll let you know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened there.
So
Thanks for
immediate feedback.
feedback. Yes, exactly.
yeah, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, maybe for the people who want to become a member, this is one of the issues.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, please let me know exactly. You're
yeah,
the first user, so any feedback is more than welcome.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. Maybe I misspelled the email address. Uh,
Oh, that also doesn't help, Johan.
yeah, I check.
Let me
Well,
see.
Roman, this was a
Yeah.
crash course on your idea, and
Hmm.
I really must say I really enjoyed listening to all that you said.
Hmm.
I think it's really
Appreciate
nice,
your time. Yeah.
and feel free to stay a little bit longer or talk more if you have more things to say. Our next guests, let me just check if they wrote me something, are going to be
Well,
Bitcoin cashiers who celebrate their birthday also today.
Right.
So feel free
Perhaps.
to stay.
Yeah. Perhaps your guest should be coming in a minute now at 4, I believe.
Yeah, I asked them to be 5 minutes early, but I don't see that they joined yet, but okay.
Perhaps one more element that I wanted to explain of the platform of the second version that of the app. If we move
Yeah.
beyond the minimum viable product, I'm sure a lot of your listeners are also familiar with David Friedman,
Mhm.
anarcho-capitalist of Machinery of Freedom. I want to try to introduce some elements of his thought into this platform also by creating a financial dashboard that shows the costs per ministry, per law, and per proposal, and also that shows the debt that the government holds in your name and the hoe zeg je dat, rente? The
Interest.
interest, exactly, interest that the government holds in your name or pays in your name, so that if you bring all these things together, it it sort of introduces an element of supply and demand in the legal process. So you see the costs of maintaining certain laws, enforcing certain laws,
Mhm.
and for example, you lay bare, you expose. I don't know. This is just a hypothetical idea, but let's say the police spends 10 times more money on finding people who cross the roads in a red light, do
Mm-hmm.
jaywalking,
Mm-hmm.
than they do spending chasing rapists. I don't know. I'm just saying. And
Yes.
then that would be very tangible data to base new citizens initiatives on, so that
Would it
you
also be possible, for example, for users to have a certain budget spendable that they get that, and then they can say, I want it to be spent on
on
education, not on
on the defense.
defense.
Yeah,
For
exactly. That's also part of this financial dashboard. I called it keuzevrijheid besteding belastinggeld. So then initially, I guess because this has to be done in steps, but initially you would say, let's say you pay 50% in taxes. That's just the the
yeah,
situation
yeah,
how it is.
yeah, make it 80, but okay.
But then within those margins, you get to tell the government how you would like to see it spent ideally. So let's say of those 50%,
Right.
you say 10% goes to education, 10% goes to health. I don't know, whatever you want to do. And
Yeah.
then initially, that is only a feedback mechanism, of course, because there's no legal power that enforces these. But you can move towards something like that, and eventually you flip it so that only the projects that have the financial support, the voluntary financial support of the people, get financed, and otherwise they don't have any, hoe zeg je dat, bestaansrecht. They don't have any right to exist. If
Mm-hmm.
if, if government bureaucrats want to build a bridge somewhere, and they can do now. They just can because they have the money, you know. And in this system, they would have to how do you say
Find
it?
support.
Oppose it exactly and find support. And if they don't get the money from the people, the bridge simply doesn't get built because then there's no demand for that bridge.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I see Joel joined in.
Yeah.
Joel Valenzuela, welcome.
good day.
Can you hear us?
Usually takes a while.
Usually takes a while.
You have to go to the settings because it's Microsoft. And it changes everything you did the last time.
Yeah, Gerrit at the start of our broadcasting had
I
the
have
same
the
issue.
same issue
There
since
is
it is a
some.
Microsoft product.
Hey, perhaps we can conclude it then.
Yes, Roman, your Referend.app is open for registration.
Indeed, it is.
I will for sure later today register. You are still looking for new people, of course, and we are gonna talk about it more often. Feel free, by the way, because we do a weekly Dutch episode also. Feel free to join in on one of those future calls.
Sure.
And if there is some more things you like to share with us, or just do the entire story once more in Dutch, that's very welcome. If you want to stay a little bit longer and ask, for example, Joel how he has been living without a bank account for the past 10 years,
Oh wow.
then feel free to stay a little bit longer. But I see that Joel has joined in. Can you already hear us, Joel? Not yet.
Does not look like it.
All right, well, we keep on talking a little bit more.
Yeah.
I see a bright future ahead, Roman. I think this app is something that more and more people will see value for. But that's just my opinion, of course. I don't know, but that's after your pitch of this last hour, I really believe that yeah, it can really grow, and that it can really once you the thing is once you get a 10,000 users, it will only get stronger, because now it's nice and it's a theory and how will it work? If you manage to get it working and people see their involvement grows, because this is like Bitcoin. It has a tremendous network effect. With just 10,000 people, it's not going to be as powerful as 10 million people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's something that can really change the future. I believe that. I can share your passion in that.
Yeah, that's
So,
good to hear. Let's pray that you're right. Yeah.
yeah. And please send me that link to a video of my first ever public speech.
I will look it up. Yeah.
If you can find it, that would be great, because I found that video myself, and it was funny because I knew that it was recorded, and then a couple of years ago I found it and I could look at it, but recently I searched for it again, and then I had that link, direct link to the video, but it was made private, and I couldn't share it anymore. So
I gotta be honest. I'm not entirely sure if I still have access to the account. I should have the video,
maybe
but
the entire account got deleted.
I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll get back to you on that. Yeah.
Sure. And if it's not there, then just let me know that, and that's also good.
Yeah.
It's funny to see you again then, because that was really the first time when I wrote that speech, or it was a speech, the first time when I felt confident enough to talk about Bitcoin in public. And
Yeah.
I was sitting on my laptop every night reading about Bitcoin, and at some point I was like, okay, now I know enough to take a discussion with other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a beautiful day in The Hague.
Yeah. Good time.
Little bit cold maybe, because I believe it was somewhere in September. But
Yeah.
we already wanted to start the revolution back then. I think it was was it already with anonymous masks? I think I had anonymous masks.
Yeah.
One of my worst investments of my life. I bought 100 anonymous masks with 0.25 Bitcoin. But every
Bitcoin was a few cents back then.
every protest I went to, I sold one of these masks to get my train ticket funded. So it paid off itself, and I had a fun time with it. So.
You contributed to the initial use of Bitcoin. This is the price we paid.
That's right. That's right.
Jody has a problem. I think is.
Well, I will take this moment because I'm sitting on the same chair for 5 hours and I have a quick toilet break. So I'll be back in 2 minutes max.
Roman and I will continue to talk.
Please keep the conversation going.
Yeah. And by the way, how are you in? What are you doing in the crypto? Are you still in crypto? Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, barely. I don't want to step on any toes, and I don't want to offend, but
it's too expensive.
No, I don't. It's not the price. It's just that.
I mean, too expensive to do a transaction.
Oh, like that? Yeah. I guess, but it's not that. I just don't see long term Bitcoin being it. I don't want to start off any any discussions in this sense, but yeah, I have some very knowledgeable people around me on who do a lot of fundamental research, and what they tell me is just what I understand is that the long term security model is just flawed. So
Okay.
I barely hold any Bitcoin anymore. I do hold some, I hedge my bets, but no, most of my money is on other projects.
What's the one that you can recommend?
Um, yeah, I would say I don't want to go into that, to be honest.
Okay.
I would say that most of the decision making on that part is not by me, not made by me. I Someone else manages most of it. So
Oh, okay.
you know, and I can't. I don't really want to go into that, to be honest.
Okay. Okay.
Now I missed the most interesting part.
Oh yeah.
Where I tell you that this is not investment advice, something like
Mhm.
that,
Uh,
right? Yeah.
in the meantime, I send a message to Joel.
Yeah, we were just discussing a bit of my crypto
Crypto.
portfolio or something like that.
I heard that question, but
Yeah. Um, yeah, I have some of the yeah, let's say bigger altcoins, but
let me share some info with you, Roman,
yeah,
because I am connected with a project called eGulden EFL,
I know.
which I like to refer to as the Bitcoin of the Netherlands.
Hmm.
And there is a friend of EFL campaign, which currently tries to hand out 3 million EFLs to people, which is a value of 1 million euros, something like that. And you could become a friend and invite your friends, and that way earn about 16% of the total because of how the structure is and whatever. So that could help you in your funding in a way. It's of course something that you will have to think about whether or not you want to connect yourself with a friend campaign like that, but it's not a multi-level marketing scheme or whatever. Once the coins are gone, they are gone. It's just like Bitcoin, 21 million units in circulation. And for 10 years' time, we have reached about 5,000 people with that, but not more. So there is a lot of money to be made, I believe, in a way. And if we get EFL to a €1, I would even be willing to pledge 100,000 of them to your app, for example. But the thing is that if I sell 100,000 EFLs today, the price drops to 1 Satoshi, I think, because it's just a very illiquid market.
Yeah.
But there is liquidity in the market. Every day, around €100 is traded, and you could sell it if you are only interested, but you could also say, let's integrate it into the app and make a budget or what, I don't know, it's just something that pops up now.
Would be interesting. I don't know in what sense it would be interesting to have a national cryptocurrency instead of a global one, but it would be.
Personally, I believe that people that share a language and live in the same geographical location have a perfect excuse to run their own blockchain, because that way they become less dependent on the finance decisions of their government. And
Mm.
it's private money, and it just adds a layer on top of Bitcoin that is congested like crazy today.
So, but
And
the foundation would be Bitcoin.
yes, that's the basic. We don't want to be better than Bitcoin. We just want to add a specific community, because the information that is involving Bitcoin is already difficult enough, and people that are born in the Netherlands speak Dutch. So to explain them that what Bitcoin is about, I believe it's easier to do in Dutch than in English. So um, yeah, for me, those altcoins, whether it's EFL or Dash or whatever other coin you can think of, Joel likes Dash, that's why I named Dash. Um, Those are my layer 2 on top of Bitcoin, how we can keep crypto cash.
How are they connected though? I wonder.
In a
Because
way, they
EFL.
are not. They are not
All
connected.
right. Okay. All right.
No, it's
I
just
think it
that.
means to do payments.
Yeah, Bitcoin would serve as the reserve, and the
Yeah,
transactions
there
would
is
be
there is markets between EFL and
exactly.
Bitcoin,
Yeah.
just like there is a market between Litecoin and Dogecoin and Tether. And but I aim to present it as the Bitcoin of the Netherlands because it has so many characteristics of Bitcoin. So there is a limited supply. There is 21 million units in that. There is a proof of work algorithm that gives the coins away. And I really believe that if people, I believe today the price of one coin is like 30 cents. So would you buy a Bitcoin for 30 cents if there is nothing you can do with it, just on the prospect that it is a store of value that can be used by people to save wealth over a longer period of time? So that opportunity is real. I believe in it, and I will share a link with you in the chat, and you can look into it, and you can become friends, for example. And if you have a user base, if you have your own community, you can just say, hey, you don't have to uh, donate money. If everybody would just become friend of EFL, I get a budget out of that. So it's just something that the best ideas happen on the toilet.
I appreciate it, man. I will definitely look into that. Yes, please
it's
send
it's
me
it's
send me
just
the.
something that I can offer today. That is, yeah. And because I still, how to explain it correct? my I am stuck in this loop because I still got 3 million EFLs waiting to be distributed. And if those would be distributed and everybody just decides to sell it and not use it and they don't want it, then I have also got my answer. But until those 3 million coins are distributed, I'm like, oh, this is something that people could really use today to their benefit. So um, yeah, let me make a little bit of commercial like that, and
I
you know,
appreciate it definitely. Yeah.
it's um, it's something that I really think can make a big impact. And again, if the Dutch would use it, then I could donate a big chunk of EFLs, for example, to an app like yours. And I've
I
got
wonder,
also got a million ideas in my mind that are not going anywhere at the moment because of funding. So you
I
know.
wonder what the impact of something like this would be on the nation. You know they
Well,
they say
if
that the euro is problematic because the economies of the southern European countries and the
mhm,
northern are so different, um, that it doesn't work to have that union, monetary union.
mhm, mhm.
I wonder what the effects would be of having a national cryptocurrency in terms of.
Personally, I believe if the price of EFL would break €1, it would be a massive awakening moment because that is the moment where all the people that are saying that cryptocurrency is just a lot of bullshit and it will never make it and blah blah blah, they are going to be proven wrong. And then they have to rethink. They are kind of everybody uses the euro. That is what combines all the people in the Netherlands today. And so, if you can make an impact on that euro, you are forcing people to rethink what they already know.
Mhm.
And that's, in a way, what also Bitcoin did to a lot of people. And then it went to 20,000 and it went to 50,000. And they've got a lot of people thinking, like, hey, how come that my news channel is telling me that it's just a scam used by criminals to launder money? But the price just keeps on getting higher?
People turn off your televisions.
Yeah, yeah.
Cancel your television, hoe zeg je dat? Subscriptions.
Can you
Stop.
do that in Netherlands? Oh
Yeah,
yeah, in Netherlands you
yeah.
can. In
I
Germany you can't.
yeah, I don't have any TV. Well, of course we pay for the national NPO, heet dat? National Public.
Public broadcasting.
Yes, exactly. You're still forced to pay that, I believe.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I don't want to be rude, but I've been away from my fiance and the kid for about an hour and a half now. I would
Roman,
really,
thank you for your time. Thank you for
yeah,
your time.
Uh,
Joel has a little trouble, I believe, but we will solve it. And I will contact you later on the phone if I have some feedback on your app.
yeah,
And
please,
I'm really thanks for all you did already. Thanks for showing up, and best
do.
wishes for 2024 that your
Likewise.
entire family may live a very healthy year.
Thank you very much. You too. Thank you for your time. Thank
All
you for
right.
your efforts. And I wish you good luck with the stream.
Thanks,
yeah,
man.
thanks.
Take care.
Bye
Thanks. See
bye.
ya. Bye bye.
Johan, what a great guest you added.
Yeah.
And so funny that this guy and me met so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
years ago. That was
Small
also
world
fun.
after all, huh?